Okay, happy Friday Eve, everyone, and welcome to the CHSS Alumni panel. Want to thank all of our attendees for joining us. I know it's quite the ask, granted that it's a beautiful day outside. As I look out the window to my left, it's awesome. Uh, Thank you for your time, and more so, thank our panelists for their time as well. They're here to share their stories, and I think each one of them is going to be extremely valuable to you and your career and professional development journey. Real briefly, just to introduce myself, I recognize some of the names in the attendees list, so that's great. I'm glad to see that you all took me up on attending, and that's awesome. I'm Jeff Poulos. I'm the CHSS Career Advisor for the college. And joining me is Nadine Verna, who I'm sure you've seen her name as well attached to many emails that we send out to the college. We are both the people behind that CHSS career at Montclair.edu address. So now you know, cat's out of the bag. So that is us, and we're here to assist and help you as well with wherever you are, career and professional development related wise. So how this is going to work, I think, just to lay the groundwork and the flow of things, I'll be kind of facilitating some questions to our panelists. I have a list of questions that I kind of want to get to that is going to be really important, and they'll be able to share their stories and take their time with that. I would save your questions. We're going to be monitoring them. If you do have any, you can, chat it in, feel free. But I'm looking at the clock and I want to budget time for at the end for the last maybe 10 to 12 minutes range for all of you to kind of ask questions. So I recommend you don't have to do this, but if you want to take note, write some questions down. If you want to circle back on something one of the panelists said, that'd be really great. And there'll be some time for that. So let's get to it. I think let's start with just going around real quick and just having the panelists introduce themselves, say what degree they earned at Montclair State University, if you don't mind, panelists, and maybe where you are currently right now, career-wise. I think that would be great. So let's start, just to make this easy so we're not all talking at once. I'll start with Erin, since you're closest to me on my Zoom box screen here, and then we'll go Dorota, Josue, right? Josie, sorry. Is that right? Okay. And then
Jose.
I'm so sorry, Jose. So Erin, Dorota, Jose, and Juan. We'll go in that order.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin DeMaio. I graduated in May 2019 with a bachelor's in psychology and a minor in public health. Currently, I'm a second-year graduate student in the school psychology program up at UConn, and I live in Hartford, Connecticut. Anyone else?
Good to see you. So my name is Dorota Olszewska. As you recognize, I have very hard accent. So I came from Poland 20 years ago exactly. I didn't speak English because my entire life I was learn German and Russian, and my native language is Polish. So I came at age 30 without no English, and in 2019 I graduated with my master's degree in child advocacy and policy from Montclair State. I adore this program, and this program opened my career. I'm currently working at NewBridge Services. I'm working with people who suffer with serious mental illness like OCD, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm working with them more like 3 years, but I'm still looking for my dream job. and I live in Wellington, New Jersey. Who's next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jose Michel. I'm class of 2019. I got my bachelor's in sociology with a minor in leadership through civic engagement. Before that, I also got a sociology degree. I got my associates at Union County College. and currently I'm in the LHE program at Montclair State University. I am going to graduate next month, as long as everything goes well. And I work at the Cooper Union in New York as the graduate assistant for student activities.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juan Ouviña. I am a high school English teacher at Memorial High School in West New York, New Jersey. It's also where I went to high school, so it's very near and dear to me. I graduated from MSU the fall, so December of 2016 with a degree in English and my K-12 teaching license. And I just graduated this past May with my master's degree in English education. And I'm really excited to come back to Montclair for my PhD in family science and human development this fall.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. That's great. I think I'm going to jump a little bit right into a specific question that I think pertains to everyone, and more so speaking to your degree and how you got here. So if you don't mind, and doesn't have to be that same order, it can be whoever wants to, answer this, but if you could please describe your career and academic journey and how you came to obtaining your current position. Did you just fall into this role, or were there other, outside external factors or influences? But I think that'd be a great way for everyone listening to understand kind of your journey and how you got to where you are.
I can go, Jeff.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was different for me. I never really foresaw myself in a K-12 classroom because I didn't really necessarily have the best experience myself as a student, as an adolescent. So I was part of this group on campus called the Bonner AmeriCorps Leaders, and we did some work with the Orange School District. So we worked in elementary schools there, and I became a program assistant. I was an English major because, I'm sure like many of y'all, I liked it, but I wasn't sure of what came next. And so at Orange, something I would take part in was tutoring, and I enjoyed it. Despite my own experience, I really liked doing this. So I made my way into the teacher ed program, and ironically, after college, that January, I got a job at Orange High School. That was my first job out of college. So that connection really helped me steer way into what came next.
Cool. I can go. You done one? I wasn't sure. I'm gonna say yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I feel like I was lucky in the sense that I knew I wanted to go into psychology at the start of my college career. So I came in as a psych major, and I had done a lot of my own research on what that really meant in terms of a career post college. And the overarching theme was that if I wanted to work in psychology directly, I would need to get a graduate degree. So I had that idea in mind early on, except I strategically planned the jobs I had on campus and the courses I took in psychology specific to the branch of school psychology, which is sort of a crossover between clinical psych, education, a little bit of public health. There's a lot of work around disability and mental health too. So it sort of is comprised of all those things. So throughout my time at Montclair, my freshman year, I really wasn't super involved. My second year, I was in the psych club all 3 years. I worked in 2 research labs, one with Dr. Josh Sandry. He teaches cognition. I don't know if there's any psych majors out there, but he primarily teaches that. I also worked in the trauma and resilience lab with Dr. Sarah Lowe, who is now over at Yale working in the public health department there. And I really liked the research side of psychology, and that's a really big part of graduate education in psychology. So I was glad I got that experience as an undergrad, even though it was pretty low level in comparison to what it looks like now. I did the, CHS Mentor Collective. So I mentored 2 freshmen as a senior, which I thought was a great experience. I worked as a peer advisor with Jeff and Nadine in the College of Humanities. So I got some really good experiences there. But essentially, I was really interested in taking classes within the psych major, and they offer a whole ton. I wish I could have taken more that were specifically relating to the branch of psychology I wanted to go into. And I aligned my work with that, knowing that to get into grad school, although it's not necessary, research experience is really good if you can get it. So that's why I did my 2 research labs and a couple other on-campus positions that I thought would benefit me in the long run. And I am now in my 2nd year of my PhD, I guess we could say that. I'm getting my master's next month, and I will be getting my doctorate in 3 years from UConn. Thank you, Nadine, in school psychology. And I really don't think I could have even gotten in the door of the grad program I'm in now had I not taken all of the opportunities that were available to me at Montclair at the time. So yeah.
So I can go next. So as I said before, I came to America and I had education from Poland. So I was a teacher for 11 years. And I also graduated with sociology, bachelor in sociology in 2015. So, but sociology is very wild discipline. So my education from Poland and sociology, and then I opened the Montclair catalog and I saw child advocacy and policy, new program. So I was like thrilled. When I was reading description of the subject, I said, this is the program for me. And I went for orientation day and I was sure that I will go for the certification program. It was only 5 classes, but the people who managed this orientation day, they said, you're gonna be good for your master. So I was not sure if I'm good enough, if I'm gonna finish, but I started in 2017 and I really enjoyed this program. So I graduated in 2019, and also during my academic performance, we had to perform internship, which was very helpful. So I internship for Center for Hope and Safety. This is safe home for domestic violence women with children. I gained my experience there, dealing with social problems, with abused children, with women. I had group with children. I did the art therapy. I had group with women. I learned them like everyday skills, parenting skills and other stuff. And also my professor, Dr. Lucy Takagi, we had to do research. So this is my project. I'm proud of my project. And I choose the topic, the evaluation of understanding the role of culture in domestic violence. And I did presentation for the clients. So I have the entire research. I work 2 semesters to get this. So my presentation did well. I present at the Center for Hope and Safety. And my background from Poland, I know how to deal with diverse population. So like everything together gave me the good background to be a caseworker. I working with families also because my client, they live independently. So I have mothers, singles mothers, I have families, and I have single people. So the entire experience I gained from Poland, from William Patterson, from Montclair, put me on the special position, and I'm focusing on my clients. And I would love to serve them my best. So I can.
That was good. Go for it.
Okay. So everybody, I just had great advisors. I was not upon exiting high school, I did not want to go to college, but I had an advisor who pushed me to actually apply to college. Once I got to community college, that's when I was just taking classes I wasn't like, it was recommended that you take 15 credits. I was just taking the minimum of 12, just trying to get by. And then somehow I just found some advisors there who just, just said the right words or something. But basically, I was more motivated now. And then I graduated from UCC. And then now, after UCC, I went to Montclair. After Montclair, it was basically all just about networking. So through individuals that I knew from before Montclair, I was able to get into EOF. But I was not like actually in EOF. I was just adopted EOF. So then I got my first job working for Mrs. Haywood as an office assistant, and then I started working in residence life as a service assistant. Then I became an OA, office assistant in residence life as well. And then soon enough, I started going to, just events that were catered to the EOF population. And it really just started making me it made me want more for myself. Because, I was just like, okay, I'm here, I'm gonna get this degree. I literally picked sociology. I was like, okay. I looked at a list of degrees. I was like, what degree gives me the most amount of flexibility? Because I don't want to be bounded to one industry. Like, I want to take my skills and, like spread my wings. So I was like, sociology, it teaches me about people. It lets me become a great leader. Let's go with this one. So I picked that. I went to so you want to go to a grad school presentation that Miss Haywood was having. And then I was like, wow, let's go to grad school, So then I was just like, hey, let's go to grad school. But just working with the EOF department, my experience in residence life was like, I like working with students, And then I started becoming very passionate about seeing others succeed. So I was like, am I passionate about helping others? So I was like, I guess I always had great advisors to help me. So let's pay it forward and, go into higher ed to help students that were not motivated like myself to, to get beyond where they're going. Yeah.
Well done.
I love that. Thank you all. That was really, really awesome insight. And I think one of the themes that I was hearing and listening to stems from the value of possibly involvement that you had during your time at MSU and or throughout your degree. So I kind of want to shift gears and play off of that theme for a second and just kind of ask you all, how valuable was it to have maybe an internship or to be involved in some sort of leadership position, on campus, and how did that maybe play or help get to where you are now?
I think it definitely helped me develop. Sorry, Erin. I think it definitely helped me develop a skill set strong enough to, I guess, hone in on some of these key concepts of my industry, right? Like working in K-12 education. It's not all about content. It's not about let's just read this literature and get through it. It's a lot about understanding the complex little beings in front of me, right? How do I listen to them? What does he or she need? So throughout my time at Montclair, I was a Bonner AmeriCorps leader. And what that means for those of you that may not know is I was on a scholarship in which I was committed to 300 hours of community service a year. And I worked with different populations to do my service. I worked with the elderly. So I used to volunteer at a nursing home. I then worked at Orange, like I said before, at these elementary schools. I worked with students with special needs. So these were things that Bonner gave me. Aside from that, I was also a resident assistant on campus where I dealt with a lot of crisis, or where I was on call 24/7 and I really had to think on my feet and improvise, right? How do I handle this situation? They're all so different. So although it may not seem like it's directly connected, many times I have found parallels between what I do now and things I did back then. So last week I just applied for this, I didn't apply, I interviewed for this job. And the first thing they asked me was, tell us something about you that is not on your resume. And so I was able to hone in on my passion for civic engagement and how well-versed I am in certain situations. And they really liked that. I got the job. And I think that's partially why, because I was able to talk about these things that my resume did not indicate.
Okay, I'll jump in now.
Go for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Juan.
Yeah, so sort of like Juan, I also worked for residence life a little bit. In my sophomore year, I was I don't even know what the acronym is, SA. I forget what it stands for now. I was an SA in Denalo my sophomore year. I also actually got an internship through Hire a Red Hawk my sophomore year for Spectrum Works, which was this little company in Secaucus. And basically, they had students from local high schools who had autism spectrum disorder who were on the spectrum. They brought them into different workplaces to help them gain valuable hands-on like skills. And I was like an advocate for them, and I would go around with them to different job sites and learn and collaborate with others in actual job roles to help get them that exposure, which was really great. And I think that really drove me to want to work more with disabilities as well, because school psychology, there's a lot of work with disabilities. And I think that was a really great experience for me with adolescents and young adults there. And I wouldn't have known about it had it not been for Hire a Red Hawk. So shout out to Montclair again. And then I just think that my experience as a student at Montclair wouldn't have been nearly what it was had I not been so involved in different areas of campus. I mean, for professional reasons, but also just as an individual. I mean, I met so many wonderful people and really gained a lot of great connections. And I got a lot of insight and a lot of different perspectives from spreading myself out like that. And I think going into college, I didn't plan on being that involved. I think I was just kind of like, oh, I'll make a friends here and there, but I'm not going to join any clubs. I'm not going to do all these things. And then I ended up doing all of it. And it was really, really helpful in, I guess, fine tuning what I wanted to do after I left college, and also having connections and roots that I could always go back to as well. So yeah, between the research labs, between residence life, between the clubs offered in CHSS, between help with Jeff and Nadine and everyone else who works up in that department, they really helped drive me to where I am today. And I'm very grateful for that.
So at my experience in Montclair, I met beautiful, wonderful, smart people. My all professors, Dr. Lucita Kagi, Professor Christopher Freit, who is the prosecutor in the Passaic for family and child abuse cases, Professor Eve Robinson, Helen Anchontau, and many, many others. The list is really long, but they teach us how to be a professional at the social services field. They teach us how to be passionate, how to be empathic, and how to be successful. They share their stories, so I am really appreciate. And after graduation, I connect with them still if I have any question, and I would love to have any advice, or if I ask for resources, they always there. And also we have I make a friendship with my students. So many of us, they working at the DCPNP, so I would love to get there. So I'm asking my classmates for advices how to prepare for job interview. How is the work look? So we still keep in contact, even it's like almost 2 years. So we meet each other. So this is a great connection, and I always appreciate for that.
I would have to say, if it wasn't for the leadership positions that I earned and accepted on campus at Montclair, I would not be in graduate school, onward to finish this master's degree, simply because, like Erin mentioned, I was the student who did not think that I was going to, be as visible on campus. I was just going to get in and get out, and that was that. And that's how I lived my life at community college. But I told myself that I would do something differently, just because of the way on the positive note that I ended community college. I was like, okay, well, getting to know people is good. So let's see how I can do that at Montclair. Once I got involved with Office of Residence Life and I got involved with EOF, that definitely just spearheaded like my life. So me thinking back, if I was not to be involved as I was on campus, like I would have just graduated and I would not know where I was going. One of the key things I'll point out is like I was part of the Brotherhood La Hamadad. Basically, one of the events that we created was a breast cancer awareness walk. Hundreds of students across the campus came to this event. And when I was applying for my graduate assistantship position as a student activities personnel, that was one of the events I spoke of because they wanted to see if I had the capability, the competency to plan small scale events and large scale events. So something that I was doing as a student, just as a club, I was able to, recall that information and bring that into the interview and overall get the job.
I just want to add something because
Sure.
Professor Lucy Takagi, she organized many trainings for us and even, conference. I put this on my resume. The list is really long. So this is all from Montclair. So it is very helpful and it's, it's very professional to put everything on the resume. So I attend many conferences at Montclair State and I am proud of this. So always on my resume. List is so long to read this out.
That's great. That's great, everyone. And it sounds like another, a lot of themes to pick out, but it sounds like a lot of that involvement really played into, who you are now and what you're doing and the line of work that you're in and those internships that also helped you further along get there. So I just kind of want to play on that a little bit more and ask you all, what's one thing, because I think this would be really important for the attendees, and we're a little off script, but I don't think this is a difficult question, but what's one thing you learned skill set wise from your major at Montclair State University, and how does that, you don't have to answer the second part, but I it'll help, but how does that translate into maybe something you are doing now that you've seen that? But what's, I know I know some of the list of names and the attendees here, there's a healthy amount from all over CHSS actually. So it's not just, I know psych is our most popular major, but I think it would be really important to have a lot of folks that are listening that are maybe, could help with understanding what skills can I gain from in this major. So if you all could just speak to that, that'd be really great. It could just be one thing too. I'm not asking for, a lot, but what's one thing you gained from that major, and how is it, maybe how has that been carried with you now up until today?
I can answer this, but it's probably going to be a little bit more than one word, just because I feel like I learned a lot from Montclair and it wouldn't even be fair to sum it down to one word. I would say, looking at myself going into college and then leaving college, I completely changed as a person. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I love psychology and I knew that going into it, but I really learned of the field, obviously, once I started taking real classes in it, as opposed to my AP class in high school. I think I learned a lot of communication skills. I think I learned, I don't know if bravery is the right word, but taking initiative in places where I probably wouldn't have before this. I think, the initiative piece, learning how to communicate with and through others, collaboration with others, sensitivity and empathy to others and their problems and their personal struggles. I think that's a really big piece too. And just overall, like, my confidence and maturity as an individual just grew exponentially because of my major. So those are my, I guess, five or six big things. Yeah.
Yes, my major was child advocacy and policies. I supposed to work at the CPNP, but life put me in different position. I am caseworker and I working with adults, but many of my academic subject I can put to my mental health. I had many, like I had children and justice. I have forensic interview of children as my, I had current social problems. I had class development trauma in people's lives. I had empowerment models in child advocacy. So I can take those subjects and put them on the mental health, because when you work with children, with child, you work with the entire family. So I am not, I didn't graduate with social work, but I can't put those subjects to my current job, and I'm really successful with this.
So, sorry, brother.
Okay.
So to echo what Erin said a little bit, I definitely think I became a much more effective communicator. I majored in English, right? So in terms of written language, in terms of spoken language, I had a professor. Her name is Laura Nakoja. A lot of you may have her. So she's wonderful. And I remember one thing she said that has stuck to me was the best thing an English major does is listen, right? Listen to these characters. They're fictional, they're on paper, but we understand them and we learn how to read situations. And I've always stuck with that, right? Like, I think it's really helped me understand situations, become more empathetic in some way. And I've taken that with me every step of the way throughout my teaching career. So I would say that, right? I'm the king of improv, right? Because of this, because now I can handle different things as they come at me.
Good.
To piggyback off of that, I would have to say it's communication. I was a sociology major, so the two classes that I like to reference is Professor Yasmin Basin. Basically, it was this, I can't remember the exact course, but I remember what I learned, and it was aesthetic labor. So I think it was sociology of work. But with aesthetic labor, you know, you basically just have, you learn how to like look the part and be the part. And I don't know, it never like, I never thought about it, honestly. Like, wow, I really have to just look the part. Then emotional labor. So you have to look the part and you have to be able to like feel them, sympathize, empathize. So when you connect emotional labor and aesthetic labor, it is tough. Like, it is tough for one individual to balance those two things. So learning that through sociology, I was just like, wow, like I'm ready for life. Like, okay, I know, you know, how to, like, I could read the situation, you know, I see your emotions, I can relate, I could keep the conversation like calm, like basically I could just diffuse the situation, things of that nature. Another thing I wanted to mention was Professor Ruszczek's urbanology course and gentrification. One thing that I always remember is I think it's Janet something, but it was basically the idea of sidewalks. You can tell what kind of area you're in just by looking at the neighborhood, looking at the people, looking at the buildings, and noticing the street itself. If a place does not have a sidewalk, it's because they don't want anyone walking there. So that means they value more privacy. So now it's more of a wealthier area because, you know, the houses are further apart. I'm like, just things like this, like being able to just recognize this, it has allowed me to be able to just enter new settings. Like when I moved, because right now I live in New York because of my job. That was scary at first because, you know, all I know is Jersey. But I'm like, look, I've done sociology. I understand how people behave, and I understand how to work with that. So as I'm looking at the society around me, the culture, just learning how New Yorkers act and how my coworkers act and how like that's all going on, I'm like, I got this. Like, I'm the perfect man to be here right now because I understand how to work and maneuver in this type of culture. So that's basically it. Like, sociology definitely increased my ability to, like, my awareness and my communication.
That's great. That's great. I really awesome insight from everyone. And one of the things I kept hearing skill set wise, empathy. That's it. That's a big theme. I think now that's bigger more than it ever was, just because of the current state of affairs. And when everything went, sideways, we had to be really empathetic from those working from home and doing school, right? All students, right? You gotta your overnight, your bedroom became your work, your everything, all in one stop shop place. So um with those themes and skill sets, communication being one of them too, because that's something that we always, no matter what industry you're going to go into, that's heavily a lot of weight and investment there. How would you all say, and I think just for time purposes, I want to maybe do like 2 more questions and then we'll open it up to everyone, by the way. But one of the questions I do want to say is, how has COVID or the pandemic, I know knock on wood, we're hopefully at the end here, but how has COVID and the pandemic shaped the way you work and possibly your industry?
I can go.
Oh,
All
Go
right.
for it.
I have a ridiculously crazy schedule most of the time. I feel like I live on Zoom. I have back-to-back meetings between classes and the several jobs I hold here up at UConn now. I think the whole thing with the pandemic, from a professional standpoint, you need to be on with your time management and organization. And I think I was able to really build on those skills throughout my undergrad, from having various positions on campus and some of the classes I took and professors I had who really encouraged those things and had told me early on, even though I didn't really understand or cared at the time, that your time management organization skills are going to be huge in your career. And I think for me, if I was not so organized, like to almost an obsessive amount, like I would not be able to manage all of the things that I have to manage on a regular basis. So I think with COVID too, I'm here by myself, and although people are communicating virtually a lot, you can't like turn to the person next to you and be like, hey, like what page are we on, or like what's going on right now? You kind of have to just like know. So I think staying on top of things in that sense has been really helpful for me. And I think the other thing is just, being kind with yourself. This has been a really, really hard year for everybody. And I will sit here some days after working 12, 15 hours and literally not moving from one spot and feel like I got nothing done because I sat here in my pajamas and was in my bed like the whole day, even though I had met with like 15 different people and went to 3 classes and like wrote 2 papers, So I think just being kind with yourself and giving yourself breaks, because the amount of screen time we've all had to put in over the last year has been not normal, and it's been too much. And I think that allow yourself the grace to step away from the computer and go do other things every now and then, and not feel so much like you need to be always doing something related to school and work. Because I think not having that divide between this is home and this is work makes it seem like you need to be working around the clock, and you don't. So try to maintain some sort of healthy and normal schedule for yourself, and understand that this is a really challenging and fatiguing time. And like Jeff said, it looks like we're sort of on the mend, maybe now with the rollout of the vaccine and everything, that hopefully things are going up from here. But it's been tough. So I think staying organized and also giving yourself room to breathe have been my biggest things this past year.
I think, Erin, that was great, by the way. But just to kind of follow up, I think another thing, aside from everything Erin said, because that was pretty on point with me too, I've really seen the value in asking for help this year more than ever. I kind of, how do I put this? It's not something I was always good at doing. I'll say that. Like, I just want to take it on and I got it and I'm going to do great. That's my mindset 90% of the time. But this year I found myself in situations where I've been frustrated, or, particularly teaching remotely, right? My favorite part of the job is the kids. And now they're not right in front of me. I don't even know what some of them look like this year. It's horrible, right? And so I found myself overwhelmed and saying like, maybe I want to change careers. And then, that's when I would call up my boss and say, hey, my supervisor, can we talk for a minute? This is what I'm feeling. How can you support me right now? And he would, right? He would say, okay, here are some resources I have for you, right? Let's do like a check-in at the end of the week again. And I think I've gotten a lot out of that, right? I feel almost humbled is not the word, but I definitely feel enlightened. That's the word. And I'm okay doing that now, right? Saying like, I need some help. Can we talk about this? Can you help me do something about this particular situation?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Juan. Something I'd like to reiterate is just the frustration of it all. When, the pandemic hit and everything shut down, it was just like, okay, so what's going on? At first, my schedule got very light. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to commute anymore. I could just go do classes online. Like, okay. But then I started thinking, when in my position, I plan events. So I plan events in person. So I'm just like, wow, if I'm no longer planning events, am I no longer valuable to my institution, to where I work? So I guess the key of what I'm thinking is adaptability. So I literally sat down. I was just like, how do I keep myself, like, how do I still remain marketable in this line of work? Like, I plan events. How do I do that now? So now, it's just like a commitment to lifelong learning. I had to start researching on what kind of information was out there on online event planning. And then I started looking at other colleges and other STEM schools and seeing what they're doing to try to see if I could gain some of their knowledge. And then from that, I was like, my institution, we didn't have an Instagram page for student affairs. So I was like, okay, I'm removed from the students right now. Let's create an Instagram page. And then right there, I'm back at work. Now I could get back to seeing students. Now I could get back to planning events. Now I just have to be creative, think about how am I going to do this online. And then, being in a pandemic for, a year now, there's only so many events you can do. So it keeps you thinking, like in terms of adaptability, because you're just like, how can I remarket this product, this event? How can I redo this? How can I, because it's not all about, just recreating the wheel here. You just have to sometimes just add some, like, a little polish to it, that's all. So, yeah.
So in my organization, we have different level of care. So I start with group home, and then now I'm working for outreach. So I have very flexible schedule. I have my caseload, and I'm seeing my clients whatever they need me, or we have session and schedule. So when the pandemic hit, it was like huge event for everyone. We had to learn how to use technology, because now we're providing services through technology. So we had to explain our clients how to use telehealth with us, with the doctors, with other medical providers. So it was a challenge, but I would say after 1 year, we're doing well. So I'm mostly working from home. I have this opportunity working from home. So once a week, I have to be on the field. So I see my clients usually on Wednesdays, but they're doing really well. They adopt the new situation very well. I was like really surprised, because many of them, like I say, they struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder. Anxiety is a big thing. They don't like changes, but they cope very well with pandemic. Sometimes I feel like I have to learn from my clients how to be calm and how to adopt the new situation.
Yeah, that's great. I think, and the reason why I bring that up is I think you all talked about it in a way that you know, in the blink of an eye, we had to justify our positions, now that things were taken away. We had to be we had to learn almost agility, but we also had to learn to be empathetic to others and kind of call upon that, you know, skill set. So
And also,
really, really awesome.
like teamwork right now is very, very
Yes.
key, because sometimes, you know, I need something from the office, from the file. So I just put on Teams who is at the office, and people are helping each other, which is huge, huge, huge help.
Yeah, I can echo off of that. I wouldn't have been able to get through this last year without my cohort in my program. They are like my sisters and they're phenomenal people. And we really all carried each other through this past year, especially our first year, definitely. And then this year, even more so. I mean, it's just, we're constantly in communication about everything. So yeah, that collaboration and teamwork has been huge, because I don't think I could handle this completely on my own, to be completely honest. So yeah, and like Juan said, you know, don't be afraid to ask for help, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in that. I think Nadine and I leaned on each other so much, our backs are worn out, our shoulders are worn out. So I totally agree and empathize with all of you. I did have one more question. I do want to be mindful of the time. So I think at this point, I do want to open it up to those attendees that are here. So if you do have a question now, please feel free to chat it in. We will go one at a time, kind of like a first come first serve type of deal, and you know, we'll take it from there. But thank you, again, panelists. This was great. I think you provided a lot of really great advice just on how to, what skills you gained, the meaning of your major, the importance of experiences that you had and who you surround yourself with, and the involvement aspect there. And that this is an evolving thing. It's not just now. These are traits, attributes that are always called into question as you all continue to grow as individuals and kind of carry on through that trajectory. So this is great. I'll fire this one out here from one of
Before
our.
you do that,
Sure.
Jeff, I just wanted to say that, you know, before you even knew it, you guys were already exercising some of these skills. Like, I know Juan mentioned, I think he said something about networking, or someone said something about networking, or just connecting, the asking for help, because, you know, I missed you, Juan, because I started in 2017. So I missed you, but everyone else, I think on the panel, I had met with at least once. And Erin really sticks out to me because she came in with this like crazy schedule. I'm like, this could do my job. I was like, so you're like a sophomore and you already have your grad school plans laid out? You already know what is required for this? It's like, tell me more. And I was like, do you want to work for us? Helping students with their academic schedule. So, you know, she just showed up. And I know Jose used to come in and like just stop by and say hi. And I'm like, Jose, why do you have a suit on? You're looking pretty sharp. Where are you going? So even before, you were already exercising some of these skills. That's probably why people wanted to invest in you and like, you know, throw you a bone and say, try this, do that. So I do want to just acknowledge that everybody has these like innate gifts, right? That they're like, whether or not you see it in yourself, you're kind of like projecting it. And then people are attracted to that and they're kind of, you know, going to kind of try to support you. But I really think that even the students here who are listening, you all have gifts, right? So sometimes it is just to come out of hiding and let that be seen, because you may not know what it can be used for, but someone will tell you once they come into contact with you, like, wow, you're great at organizing, you're great at like, you know, you're great at like connecting, you're just stopping by to say hello. You have a very pleasant demeanor. Like, why don't you consider this? Dorota used to talk about working out, you know, and kind of keeping herself, you know, like trying to balance like school and her own personal care and stuff. Like, I remember that. So a lot of things just pop out. And then people just want to support you with what you naturally have and what you already decided you want to do, or help you find out what you can do if you don't know. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you for the shout out, Nadine. Appreciate it. All right. So when making career decisions.
Erin, go for it if you want to read that question out loud so everyone.
Sure, yeah.
We as panelists, just FYI, are the only ones that see the chat. So when you
Okay.
read the question, everyone else will be able to know what that question was.
All right, yeah, I didn't know how that works, so all right, cool. So this says, when making your career decisions, how do you know when you've made the wrong one? Or when do you know when to turn away from something that does not work out?
I can try to take that on.
I'll go ahead after Juan.
So I guess working in the teaching profession, right? People usually settle in, at least in public schools, people will settle in a district for a long time. This is the second district I worked in, and I'm now transitioning into a third starting next fall for different reasons, right? Like I first worked in Orange and I loved it. I had my history there, but then I wanted to come home. Now I feel like I want change again, right? I want to get to know something else. And so I'm losing my tenure. So I'm gonna move somewhere else and I'm gonna have to start over with my 4 years once again. But I'm a strong teacher and I know that I will get rehired again the following year. So that's not something I'm too concerned about. The one thing I will say, before I guess picking up and leaving the field, try to make a modification in some way, right? So I've noticed something different about each district I've worked in. So Orange was very community oriented and I love that and I miss that very much. Here where I am, I have autonomy of my own classroom, which is great. And I haven't gotten that before. And let's see what the next place I go to has to offer me. But I have noticed that the environment can make a big difference, even in higher ed, right? So you got advisors right here, right? But perhaps they would like res life too, and they just haven't tried it. Perhaps they would like service learning. So change the setting before you go ahead and say, I hate this overall.
We can come back to me. I kind of forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, I don't know if I've directly experienced this question, but I will say, sort of like Juan is saying, step out of your comfort zone, take risks. It will only help you grow as a professional, and staying in one place and staying stagnant. You may come across different people, but if you yourself are not moving around and trying different things, your skill set will only grow so far. Like moving to Connecticut was literally never part of my plan ever at any point in my life, and it became everything, and I love what I do here, and it's been a amazing experience for me. But I wasn't, I moving out of state was a big deal for me. I grew up in Jersey, and even though Montclair was like, I lived on campus because it was like an hour and a half ish from my house. This was a bigger move for me. And I took the leap because I got into a really great program and I didn't want to pass up the opportunity to stay comfortable in Jersey. And it was the best decision I've ever made. So
I would love to add something because I would love to, I'm applying all the time for children and Department of Children and Families, but they don't hire at this moment. So I was on vacation in Florida and I said, oh, maybe I will move to Florida in Sarasota area. And just, I apply for government job over there and I got, invitation for two, oh my God, I'm sorry, for job interview. After 2 days, they just sent me the email, and first job interview I had yesterday, and for child protective services I will have on the 13th this month. So it was like, so maybe I will get crazy decision. I will move to Florida if I got this offer.
In response to the question, I would say just do what scares you. Mm-hmm. That's the motto I live by. I was like, of course, it takes me a little time to make that decision, but I usually pick what scares me. In terms of knowing if you made the right decision, it's good to just have goals for yourself. Just goals, like whatever position or whatever adventure you're taking in life. Just have a certain goal and see if you're meeting that goal once you're in that environment. If you haven't reached that goal, you just have to do a little self-reflect, like, why haven't I? Is it something that I'm not doing, or is it something that I just can't receive here? Or is it not what I thought it was? And that's when you have to pick a different route.
I also think when you are doing your internship, you can recognize if you fit to this position. This is what I like about Montclair. When I got my internship, I knew it, I belongs there. I have passion to help others. I would love to change people's lives. So internship is really crucial. And you making many connections at internship. Sometimes they offer you job, and they also can put them on your resume. You can ask for advices, but the connection starts there.
The question in the Q&A: what were some intimidating moments you faced in graduate school, and how did you handle it?
Yeah,
Can I go first?
go. Yeah.
Well, honestly, like, I don't know. This might not be like a large scale issue, but so in graduate school, I realized everyone types incredibly fast. And like just off of that alone, I'm like, what else can they do better than me? So meanwhile, I'm still doing the pen and paper and everyone's just typing away. And I'm just like, okay, look, I can't stay like this. Like I refuse to just be the slow typer. So, that's when you have to work on yourself, like when you have a challenge, you have to go up against that challenge. You have to tag along. You can't just run away from it. That's how I live my life. So I started finding games online that helps you with your typing.
Oh.
And every week I would test myself on the game. So there's so basically there's games that helps you practice your typing, and then there's that actual like 60-second test. There's a 60-second, 2 minutes, just so you can see how fast you can type. So they'll just shoot out a paragraph and you just type as much of it as possible. So over the course of my graduate school, like my first semester, I wasn't that great, but honestly by now, like I can type without looking again, because I know many of my classmates were mentioning that, in school, like back in elementary or something like that, they learned how to type without looking. I'm like, my school didn't teach me that. So I'm like, maybe we just came from two different atmospheres or two different educational systems. But now I'm at the point where like I can type without looking, my speed has increased. So I feel like I'm competent enough or capable enough to sit in a class with my laptop and I'm just typing, taking notes and doing shorthands. Like I feel like I have a place here now, is what I'm saying.
Good.
Yeah.
So you need to read a lot of papers, books, materials, and everything else. So I had to learn how to be a faster reader. So I improved that skills.
Yeah. I think for me, intimidating moments in grad school, there have been so many, I can't even name them all. Imposter syndrome is very, very real. And I think I am very, very lucky to be in the position I am in my program, and all of my cohort. There's only 8 of us in my cohort. So that's just like, basically, for people who don't know what a cohort is, you guys probably all do on the panel, but your class that you come in with, and then, you guys all grow together and you graduate together. For the most part, everyone comes in with a different level of experience, and that is as incredible as it is intimidating. Because there have been more times than not when I've sat in a room and said, every single person in this room is 100% smarter and more capable than me. That has happened more times than I can count. However, I got in for a reason. They saw something in me that, like sort of like Nadine said, you project certain qualities of yourself that you may not even be intentionally projecting. I think I don't give myself enough credit for what I'm capable of, and I have always nailed it, even though in the moment I'm like, this is gonna flop. This paper sounds like it sucks. I am sure every other person in my cohort is submitting something higher quality than me, and that has never actually ended up being the case, but it feels that way a lot of the time. So I think, approach it with confidence and understand that you do have a place there. They saw that in you on the faculty side. You have to believe it in yourself as a student and continue to produce what you believe to be your best work, because other people will agree with you that you are very, very capable of all the challenges that will come your way. So I can't even name one specific moment because I feel like it's happened a whole lot of times.
I like Erin, I think I definitely too have felt the imposter syndrome, right? Like, do I belong here? And so another thing that I guess was weird for me, but this was, I guess, more like personal, emotional, right? I mean, I never felt this at Montclair. Let me echo that. And that's why I'm choosing to come back here for my doctorate, really. But I did my master's at Columbia, very prestigious school, right? And many times I was the only Latino in the room. And that was hard, you know, like that was hard because I felt like there was people around me that maybe thought I was only there because I could check off a box that they can't. So, you know, in terms of I earned a seat at the table. Yes, I did. I felt like I had to prove that again and again and again. But, you know, I think it was more just my perception of things and what was going on around me and how just I felt in that space. So that was something that was a big challenge for me to overcome, to get through a whole like 35 credit degree like that. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, great questions. And we have another one here. While maintaining a full-time career, has it been difficult balancing education, your career, and staying active on campus or the community?
Yes.
Yeah. Short answer, yes.
Short answer, yes. You know, I think about this a lot. I think especially for me, I feel like I'm in my early 20s and I go on social media. Obviously, pandemic times been a little bit different, but I will be inside writing a paper for 8 hours and I will open up Instagram and I will see all of my friends out to brunch and having the best of times. And I am sitting here writing on a weekend and I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot. I feel like, you know, it is a ginormous sacrifice, but the end goal will never not be worth it, in my opinion. So even though it is difficult to balance, it takes up the majority of my time, of my life and my time. Just stay on the path and just keep going because the end goal is going to make it all worth it. And I definitely had a lot of those moments, you know, I feel like at Montclair too. And then I graduated and that felt amazing. And then I got into grad school and now I'm about to finish my master's and that feels amazing. And, you know, it's just, it sounds corny, but trust the process. It is 100% worth it and just stay focused on your end goals, even if in the moment it may not always feel worth it.
I just want to add something because I was a single mom at that time and my daughter also graduated from Montclair with her bachelor in nutrition and food science. So when I start my college degree in America with William Patterson and Montclair, we had only one car. I had job, she had job, she didn't drive. So it was a huge challenge, you know, because I had to drove her to her job, to her school, to my school. So it was a challenge. But I also show her, she's very proud of me because she ended at bachelor, and her mom, who came here at age 30 without no English, I graduate with a master's degree, and I'm very proud. And I just show her the way. If you have dreams and goals, go for it, because when you achieve them, you feel so proud. And now I am very, very proud of myself. Mm-hmm. So I show her the right way.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I know we're a little over time here, so I think Nadine, what do you recommend? Maybe, you know, we'll call it, and if those do want to hang back just to chat, they're more than welcome. Is that a good idea?
Sure. I guess I would like to just ask the panelists, like looking back, I guess kind of as a wrap up, like looking back, if you could look at your time at Montclair State, at least the first time around, for some of you guys who came back, you know, what would you say, like, what is something you wish you had done that you didn't do? Like, or what is something that you feel like was especially helpful that you would recommend to students who are here now? Yeah.
That was the one question I didn't get to, and I was gonna pivot, but I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. Whoever wants to go for it.
I'll go. Put yourself out there, get involved, use all of the resources that are available to you. I am telling you, there are an endless amount of opportunities through Montclair. And I feel like something that I've heard, because a lot of my friends who I also graduated with at the time, I heard a lot of negative talk about what was offered through this university. And I'm like, you're not looking. Like, it's all there. You just need to put yourself out there. Sorry, there's motorcycles outside the window. I live downtown Hartford. Anyway, it's all about just making the most of your 4 years, obviously in terms of friendships and things like that. But like we had stated earlier, you need to get involved in order to make those connections happen. Like, you need to be the one in the driver's seat and going ahead and just going for it. My freshman year, especially my first semester, I didn't. And then as soon as I did start getting involved, it just made a world of a difference. And I had said before, like, I'm not a shy person, but I didn't want to, have to take that initial step. I don't know. I think I am a lot more mature now. And I think I gained that maturity through putting myself out there and meeting all these different people and acquiring all these different experiences. So get involved ASAP. I'm not sure what year any of you guys are, but it's never too late, even though it is April of the spring semester. Just go for it. Do your research, poke around on the website, go visit Jeff and Nadine. They will guide you, I assure you.
I strongly agree with this. I would love to add that I really enjoy the recreation center and especially the gym and swimming pool. When I had stressful week, I ended at the swimming pool and I just, relax. Beautiful, the most beautiful swimming pool and recreation center we have at Montclair. I really miss that. I hope they're gonna open and I can enjoy this too.
I think to echo those things, it's important to stay connected, I feel, right? So like Jeff was a grad student. He used to advise me when I was an undergrad, and that's why I'm here today. I also mentor student teachers at the Center of Pedagogy. Like, I've really kept in contact with advisors of mine and professors that I had that have really brought opportunity forth to in some way bring change or some type of, in some way move forward in some type of way. And I'm thankful for that. And I plan to keep that going.
Yeah, absolutely. Those connections are huge. There's still certain faculty that I stay in contact with, like some psych professors, and then people like Jeff and Nadine and Courtney Cunningham from CHSS. But in the psych department specifically, Dr. Sandry, Dr. Reagan, Dr. Grapin, Dr. Lowe, who's no longer there. I'm not sure if anyone here, probably too young to know her. I stay in contact with all of them just because they were so helpful during undergrad, and I would like to, maintain those connections as I move forward into my career.
Looking back at, just like, if I could go back, one thing I'd say is just take every opportunity seriously, so, because one of the things that they say often in residence life is like, it's like, what is it, a fishbowl, or you're in a fishbowl?
Yeah.
But like, basically, like, people are watching you, and people talk. Administrators are talking. So like, perfect example, if you're doing a campus, if you're working on campus and you don't take that job seriously, and then as you mature, you're like, you want a different position on campus, you're like, okay, well, I think this position suits me well, my resume aligns perfectly with this, and let's go for it. Chances are, if whoever is in charge of those jobs, if they communicate to see like how well you were in your previous position, they're just like, oh yeah, this person was horrible, like they didn't take it seriously. No matter how well your resume is, no matter how like presentable you seem, that past experience is going to follow you. So you have to remember, like, take everything seriously.
Yeah. There's a question. It says, any tips for a final semester senior? I think utilize alumni relations 1000%. They're there to help you. Your 4 years are not over just because you are leaving, and you will always be a Red Hawk. Therefore, use those services to maximize your opportunities once you're out of here, for sure.
Also,
Um,
I mean, I would say
oh,
don't
Juan.
let yourself if you don't feel like you have it all figured out. Yeah, you'd be surprised what happens in chance or just as you move forward, right? You'd be surprised what comes your way that can become a beautiful opportunity and one that you love very much.
Two things I'd say is one, befriend a professor. Okay, like befriend a professor. I have from Montclair, I have 3 professors who I speak to at least every 6 months. And it's pretty great. It's just a nice feeling and it's just refreshing. The other thing I'd say is if you don't have a mentor already, get a mentor. A mentor will keep you on track. You can get a mentor for every aspect of your life. Yeah, get a mentor. 2 tips.
I just want to comment real quick, and I think you all just brought up some really awesome points. Spark note version this one. I think the power of networking is massive, and really in my eyes, I think is the #1 job search, internship search tool. So during your time at MSU, and this is something I say on a day-to-day, have those conversations with professors, exactly what the panelists said, find that mentor. A lot of them have their CVs, right? That's a curricular vitae, fancy for a very long resume and everything they've done under the sun. That's published on Montclair's website. Look it up. Maybe there's something in their background, their interests, their, research background that aligns with something you're interested in, and seek out that informational interview maybe and connection and say, I noticed on your curricular vitae or your background, you worked in X company or did Y research. I want to learn more about what it is that you do. And in the similar vein with internships and those experiences, when you start having those types of conversations, you're building a network like all the panelists are saying. You're finding those mentors and you're liking what maybe you like or don't like about a particular field.
Yep.
So I think you all just brought up some really, really good points there that Nadine and I definitely share on a day in and day out basis. So um, I know we're over here. I do want to, I know Nadine just chatted it, but attendees, if you do need the QR code for this event, we will definitely get it to you. So just hang tight, be patient there. Most importantly, I want to thank both the attendees for attending. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all got something out of this. Network, I'm going to kind of just put the panelists on the spot. I don't know if any of you have a LinkedIn or leverage that, but if the attendees have a LinkedIn, maybe that's a good way to keep in touch. You could always request and say, hey, Erin, Juan, I heard you on this panel. Let's keep, in touch and in contact. But in the same vein, I also do want to thank our panelists too. Thank you for taking the time to really meet, with all the attendees today and sharing your stories. I think you all bring something really, really important to the table, and I'm really excited to keep in touch with you all and follow your career journey. I think it's remarkable. So thank you for sharing.
I put my email in the chat. If anyone wants to talk about psych specifically or grad school, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Get on a Zoom, whatever you want to do. I'm here to help.
Likewise, I did the same.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. We really enjoyed hearing from you tonight, and we know how busy you are, so we appreciate your time.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice to hearing from you. Good luck, everyone. COVID is almost gone, right?
Yeah.
We will come back to normal.
Definitely. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our panel. And thank you all again, panelists, for attending. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having